Okay, so now we know that we can just automatically have Bitcoin D connect to Tor. I'm going to go back to step two because this also got me confused. So, they say for newer versions, you can just go see section three. But I think what they mean is, so certainly you don't have to do these configuration steps for Tor because we're running the newer version. So we can completely ignore this. But this C section 3 part, I think, is a little misleading because everything else is still relevant for setting up our node's ability to listen for incoming Tor network requests from other nodes who want to remain as private as possible. And so these configuration settings do still matter. And there's a the discussion goes on for in a typical situation, you can set it up this way. Um, if you want to prevent any non-Tor incoming nodes from being able to reach you, so that basically you're only reachable on the Tor network, um, then you can call bind. Um, and if you don't care about hiding your node, you can do this, et cetera, et cetera. So at this point, my head starts spinning, and I don't have a strong grasp of what I need to do here. So for now, I've just bailed out to Google and looked up the most recent answer I could find and the best description of how to do this. So they go through the setup steps, and then here we go. So proxy. So this was what we saw in step one in the docs, where they said to send outgoing transactions securely over Tor, add proxy localhost port 950. So that's what we're seeing here. So this covers our outgoing traffic over Tor. And then the next two lines are covering listen. So we're going to allow incoming Tor traffic um, and the bind to localhost. So that's this part of the discussion. So we're just going to use these three settings. So we can test this from the command line first of all. So we could just call. So by the way, if your supervisor is running Bitcoin D, let's manually just kill that, just so that we can play with how we're launching Bitcoin D more interactively for now. So we're just going to stop Bitcoin D. Password. Okay, mine wasn't running. If yours was running, it might take a couple seconds to shut down. So we can just run these configurations straight from the command line. So, and the only difference is we need to use the dash notation. So dash proxy is localhost to port 950. We're going to activate dash listen. That's all we have to do for that flag. And then we're going to do a dash bind to our localhost IP. Oops, there we go. Okay, so now I'm going to run Bitcoin D with these configuration parameters. So as we look through the startup, we see some proxy information up here. And then the incoming Tor setup happens after this rewinding stage. So we're going to have to kind of sort through the log entries because as soon as the rewind is done, we're going to start getting more blocks coming in. And so it kind of covers up what we're really looking for. All right, we see our bind has happened. We've bound ourselves to our local IP. And now we're looking for Tor. So Tor control thread start. That's a good sign. That means that the node is talking to Tor, but we're not done yet. So nothing in here. We've got blocks coming in. There we go. Tor got service ID. So this will be different for each node setup. And advertising service, blah, 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 dot onion on my Bitcoin node port. So what this is saying is that my node is now reachable from this .onion address, and it's been broadcast to the Bitcoin network as a reachable node via Tor. So now people who want to communicate securely on the Bitcoin network, I can provide them, um, they can be one of my incoming connections, or said a different way, they can create an outgoing connection to me just through Tor, and everyone's IP address will be completely protected. So now we've confirmed that I am set up for receiving external requests. Super cool. Um, Unfortunately, I haven't found a way to confirm that my outgoing traffic will be protected over Tor. But simply by launching Bitcoin D with this proxy line through the Tor port 9050, um, I'm for now just going to have to assume that that's working the way I think it will. If you know how to confirm a test of my outgoing Bitcoin node traffic, I'd love to hear about it so I can just have that sanity safety check and make sure that this is doing what I think it's doing. Um, but yeah, so now what we have is um, we have outgoing connections securely going only out over Tor. We're allowing incoming connections over Tor to our unique onion address. But we're still allowing regular incoming connections over just the normal internet to also connect to our node. So there, the Bitcoin network is aware that I'm running a public node at my public IP address because while I've allowed secure Tor incoming connections, I have not prevented regular IP address incoming connections. So I'm allowing incoming Tor traffic, I'm allowing incoming IPv4 and IPv6, which is kind of the regular, public internet traffic. We can close off the incoming IPv4 and IPv6, and in that way completely hide my node's IP address, so that the entire Bitcoin network won't even know that there's a node running at my IP address. The downside of that is while I still have to sync the 240 gigabyte blockchain, it's just going to go slower if I'm only accepting connections over Tor. I think. I think. So, yeah. Like I said, I'm not super on top of everything in the Tor world. Um, and I'm not sure if it really matters if the world knows that I'm running a Bitcoin Core node at my IP address. I just don't want my outgoing transactions to be tied to this IP address. And in theory, we've covered that now. So sorry, this was a longer one. This is certainly more complex, certainly requires much more care and attention than I've given it so far. I have a lot more to learn. Please tell me, what I've gotten wrong or best practices. And definitely do your own research on this one. I do think this one is just an awkward combination of being complicated and pretty important. So that's a bad combo. But from here, we'll move on to the next step.